big calls on all the big races. And boy, are there some big races this weekend. Yes, welcome back to another edition of What a Shout, the Racing Post flagship feature weekend show, filmed somewhere in the capital yet again. On a Thursday morning, we're playing with your minds. But that's because we've got 2 days of action to preview for you on the Rolly Mile. It's huge. Group 1s are plenty. Massive handicap sponsored by our sponsors, Bet365. Thrilled to be here with you this morning. Like and subscribe, that's what it's all about if you're watching on YouTube. Anything on Facebook, keep your comments coming in below. We love to read those. Get your naps in. And Twitter, hashtag What a Shout. Right, who have I got with me? He's made the pilgrimage from Stoke. Everyone's favourite bookmaking loony, it's Pat Cooney.
Yes, looking forward to the weekend. Terrific racing, isn't it?
Your big handicap.
Yes, the Bet365 Cambridgeshire. Looking forward to it, as ferociously competitive as ever, I feel.
Yes, the cavalry charge spread across the track. Where do we want to be? We're going to find out, yeah? And probably since the draws come out Thursday morning, lots of movers, I'd imagine.
Yes, looks as though people all want to be with a certain part of the track, so we'll digest that later on.
Very much so. All right, great stuff. You'll notice it's just me and Pat in the studio. We're going to have to go to deepest, darkest Essex because Graeme Rodway, or is he in Essex? Let's have a look.
Yeah, I'm in Essex, Dave. In my hometown, not far from Chelmsford. They're racing there tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
You sort of look like you're in a submarine at the moment, G. You're sort of, or I don't know,
Yeah,
or you're listening for sonar or something.
I got some decent big earphones for a change. You know, usually I use the white ones that you stick in, but I got some nice big ones that the pilots use, and I'm in the middle of moving at the moment, so I'm stuck over in the corner near my cupboard.
Well, let's hope your radar is indeed spot on for what's exactly coming up for you out there this weekend. Well, we're keeping it all in-house, that's right. Just a look at those big race previews for you. Tip, tip, tip all the way. We'll be looking at 2 group races. That's the Rockfell and the Joel Stakes on Friday before 4 juicy pearls for you on Saturday, culminating in the Bet365 Cambridgeshire. Then, of course, those all-important weekend winners. Right then, who's up for some big race previews? Starting off on Friday, an absolute added bonus for you. This is the 3 o'clock. It's the Rockfell, one of 2 group races on the card. Sensational stuff. Could we just, Pat Cooney, see the next 1,000 guineas winner?
Well, traditionally, the Rockfell does throw up some really good horses, and favourite head in the list is Commissioning, trained by John Gosden, Rab Havling aboard. Very, very impressive first time out. But I'm in a bit of a quandary with this one because she wore a hood on her debut.
Ugh.
Don't like that. Of course, but she won well. And of course, she's got the hood on again. But it must suggest to me that she must be a bit hard to train, let's just say. So but I'm against her on that basis as well, at her price. And it's a 14-runner race, and she's there in stall number 1. Is that going to be a good draw, a bad draw, or an indifferent draw? I don't know. So I've 2... against her. I can see her winning. I can see her being potentially the best in the race. But value, no, not for me. And I just came back to the form book and I thought Olivier Meralda, second to Meditate, that's the best filly in the race, the most experienced filly in the race. And I thought I would rather be on her at her, let's say, 6-1 than the favourite at around about 2-1. There's others you could throw in the ring. Dance in the Grass, I think, is interesting for the Johnsons.
Too bad to be true, wasn't it, last
And I'm
time?
going to blame the ground for that because it was good to soft. It was her first spin on good to soft ground. It won't be that on...
Straight track as well for her. She just looked lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And a slight caveat with her, though, the Johnson stable, they're not as prolific as they have been in recent weeks, I didn't think.
I need to check that, Pat.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that, but, they come back to form quick enough. So I've got too many horses I fancy against Commissioning to fancy Commissioning at her price. So I'll stick with the form book, Olivia Meralda for me.
Shall we go and see what the Navy SEAL in Chelmsford thinks about all this? Now, you've been listening out for missiles coming in. I've got a feeling the first bogey is coming your way, Graeme Rodway.
Yeah, I really fancy Commissioning, Dave. I thought she was wildly impressive first time out in Newmarket. She won in a very, very good time. The sectional times were very, very quick towards the finish. She really finished off her race strongly. And, my little spies in Newmarket tell me that she's been working with Thundershower, who's a 93 rated 3-year-old and runs in the listed race on the same card and beating her up on the gallop. So I think that we're looking at a real top class juvenile here for John and Fady Gosden.
Yeah, you're keeping it in the family. Look, a lot of people will be looking at this and thinking, one is Gozzy. Yeah, I mean, you're drawing in the wing.
Oh, no, not that again, Dave. Just forget about the wing. Doesn't matter.
Stalls in the centre, we should say, for the 3 days. That's because over the last couple of years, there has been like a Lingfield, like Golden Highway on the stand side. We'll get to the Cambridgeshire, the big race on Saturday, and see where we think you'll need to be. But I don't want to be low. Even if they're in the middle, I reckon they'll start migrating that way. I'm with you a little bit. Olivia Meralda wins the Rockfell at 3 o'clock. Keep it simple. Ross Ryan back on, of course, for Kia Jarabchen. Interesting. Right, 3:35. This is a really interesting race. It always is, the Joel Stakes. I love it.
Yeah, and there's not much between them all. It's just the 7 runners go to post. On official ratings, there's, £6 between the best and the worst. I say the worst. The worst is a pretty good standard. Market leader, perhaps Tempest, won its last 3 races. Archie Watts at Holly Doyle aboard, which will guarantee its popularity in the market. You can make a plausible case out for several of these, though. I think El Drama's interesting runner. Hasn't run for 398 days, so ordinarily you'd be saying, oh, I'll need the run. But it's trained by Roger Varian. Yeah. If you like hot stables, then
he who can do no wrong.
Yeah, so a race that's interesting. It'll be a sensible gallop. Pogo's in the race, so you know he'll be bowling along in the lead. And I'm going to go for Mutasabiq, a horse I thought I would never, ever fancy, because every time he gets beat, we always make an excuse for him. He with the slow pace. It's 4 defeats in a row, and I just thought, yeah, but he's got a true pace this time around with Pogo. He's got blinkers first time, and it is Newmarket. You know, there's wide open spaces. And having been anti him in his last 4 races, I'm warming to him because I just like the makeup of the race. And I think he's a fair price this time around. He's about 9-2. I think the public have maybe had enough of him. But I think he sets up well for him here.
I mean, Graeme, you've got to be some sort of, Pat Cooney if you're going off that cliff. I mean, the blinkers from Mutasabiq, look at that, absolutely. Incoming!
What is Pat on today? Mutasabiq, yeah. I mean, he's so disappointing, wasn't he? Last time at Goodwood, we sat there and we said, if ever Mutasabiq's going to win a race, surely be this one. Yeah. Maybe, I suppose you could argue the return to Newmarket might suit him. Obviously, his dam was Gennady, she won the Guineas there, but... massive leap of faith has to be taken there, Pat. I much prefer Pogo. He's so solid, isn't he, Pogo? He's going to go out in front. He's going to be very, very difficult to pass. He runs the track really well. He was in good form. He finished second in that hot race last time out at York behind Kinross, who, of course, came out and won next time. Elsa Howe chased Kinross home. He was 5th. The 6th was Sacred. That's come out and won since. So it's really, really strong form. You just know that Pogo's going to go out there. He's going to, if he gets taken out, he'll get taken out on his Shield Day, but I don't think he will be taken out. I think he'll see them off from the front. Pogo.
Yeah, absolutely. Love this horse. He's done us a couple of favours this season. I've been with him all the way back. A couple of Group 3s. I've napped this in the National Naps competition on Friday. It won't be my nap on What a Shout, but this is Pogo. 1-2-2-2 are the form figures on the rolling mile. Yeah. He's back up from 7. I think he finds it easier to dominate over a mile these days than he does 7. He was taken on last time, as G said, by Kinross. Yeah. We've seen that park winner come out. This, I think, is a great bet. No other confirmed front runners. If they do try and take him on, I still don't think that's going to bother me too much. And from stall 4, he's going to lead the way. Tempest is the other one. Wizard of Eye on that Goodwood form is interesting, but I don't know whether he's quite good enough. And of course, we've got the durable Oscuda in the race as well. This is an absolute Friday treat. You've heard from us. Where are you going? Let us know below. Let's have a look at a sizzling Saturday, as promised for you. 4 jewels coming your way, and it's the Royal Lodge. Now, this race was won by Frankel, you remember. Some of the greats. Of course, it moved from Ascot over to Newmarket as part of the switch with Champions Day. I love the race, G. What about you?
I thought it was a bit of a disappointing renewal this year, Dave. Obviously, Flying Honours sets quite a high standard. He's got an RPR of 107, but that would have only been good enough to win one of the last 10 years. And if you look at the horses that are against it, nothing's better than 100 yet. I mean, the second favourite, Greenland, has got 100, so he's going to have to improve £7 to get near Flying Honours. Usually, to win this race, you need to be around the 110, 112, 113 mark. Now, I'm not saying that Greenland can't improve that much, but you're asking for him to improve a stone. And if the Foxes has got to improve even more, he's £7 behind him, and Dubai Miles another £4 behind him. So, yeah, I mean, the favourite should win, but he's not a working man's price, is he, Dave?
Well, let's find out from the man in the know. Of course, once everything came out of this race and we saw what was there, Now, Charlie Appleby's never won this race. He's got flying honours. Yeah. What ran in the race last year, Pat?
There was a horse running the race last year. You keep reminding me about this. A courier bus. And I'll tell you where I was. I was standing in the parade ring with Charlie Appleby, watching it on the big screen. Courier bus, as you may recall, suddenly went 4 lengths clear of furlong out. And I remember saying to Charlie at the furlong pole, well done, Charlie. He looks a lovely prospect for next year. And he managed to get beat. And I thought, well, what do I do now? So I said to him, he's still a lovely prospect for next year, despite being beaten. So he's almost won a Royal Lodge. And you do look at flying honours and you think, OK, he only has to beat these 3. The form book says he probably can. And the reason why, he beat Stormbuster very easily last time out. And Stormbuster won a decent enough race at Newbury last week. So the form is there.
He won the Haynes Hanson Clark, didn't he?
Yes, which has been won so
beat Highbank, who was supposed to be the next great thing.
So it's all there. I suppose the favourite will win. I'm quite intrigued by the Foxes because when we had Sheen Murphy on before Royal Ascot, he thought this was a horse of considerable potential. He finished 9th at Royal Ascot, didn't really work out for him. But then he won OK at Goodwood last time out, and he's going to be about 11, 12 to 1, the outside of the party maybe. So if Sheen Murphy thought back in June he was a horse of potential, he might be an interesting runner. But you do look at flying honours, and you think, well, surely the form's there. The Aidan O'Brien horse, Greenland, he's not on the top table, is he, at the moment?
We should have dialed into Oisin, of course, for this, because the 2 times we've had him in on What a Shout this year, he gave us the Foxes in the Chesham. We all know that we thought he ran all right, but of course he came out and won that Goodwood Novice, and they were then going to run him at Salisbury, which is where Flying Honours ran it.
That's right.
And when Oisin came in for the York preview, he napped on the Friday, Flying Honours, saying they won't take this on. So this is often a race for good staying horses. Charlie Appleby's never won it. I think he will. Greenland is probably a St Legerie, I say with a Y on it, horse.
Yeah.
And he'll probably be a benchmark for some of their better 2-year-olds with the middle distances coming out. But don't discount him. I think he'll probably make the running. Dubai Mile, very interesting. And the Foxes can't wait to see what he does, but this will go to the boys in blue. And rid of that nightmare 101 gubbing on the exchanges last year for the poor old Caribus. All right, let's move on. It's the fillies' time to shine. Group 1 time. It's the Sheveley Park Stakes after this. And as we've heard from Aidan, he must have a really, really big chance in this pack with Meditate. What does the market say?
Meditate, yes, fine for favouritism with Trillium of Richard Hannon. And Trillium of Richard Hannon has really, really progressed. Beaten a maiden, won well subsequently, and does look the 6 furlong horse of the race. Whereas Meditate, yes, the form is probably better on balance, but she was beaten over 7 last time out, and now she's dropping back to 6, which I always think is quite hard to do. So Trillium, you've got your true 6 furlong form. So they're both there. They've both got significant chances in the race. For me, I was looking at the value in the race, and I thought, well, ordinarily, whatever wins the Lowther at York in August comes here with a leading form book chance. Well, the horse that won the Lowther is Swing Along of Carl Burke, and she won at 25 to 1. And I always think when a horse wins at 25 to 1, you think, I don't really take that form seriously anymore. Well, she did win it, and she can come now to this race, and she's around about a 6-7 to 1 chance. So that appeals to me on the Lowther form, yes, onto here. So I'm looking at her as my value in alternatives.
Swing Along for Carl Burke.
Yes.
All right, York form coming in. Right, you didn't like the Royal Lodge. Tell me this has got your juices flowing.
Yeah, I think this is a cracking race, Dave. I don't know how good Meditate is, because if Meditate wins this, then the horse that beat a couple of weeks ago, Tahira, must be an absolute superstar, because Tahira gave her quite a tidy head start and picked her up easily. And I couldn't be thinking that Meditate can then come out and win this Group 1 after being beaten so easily. I always think, like, what's the likelihood of Tahira being a superstar? She might well be, but it's not likely. Anyway, so Trillium obviously sets the recent standard with that beating of the Platinum Queen, who was second in the Dunthorpe. But I just think Trillium takes a little bit of a keen hold through races, and of course, going up to 6 furlongs here, I think she's really well suited by the way the races are being run over 5, and I just wonder if she might pull a bit hard. So I think Lezu will win this. I remember when she got beaten at Morge, I remember I was at Newmarket that day, and I said, this is a Group 1 filly. She'll definitely win this race. It was the Duchess of Cambridge. And just everything went wrong. Like Morge got a really easy lead. It was a messy old race. Lazou made a lot of ground, couldn't quite get to her. Then she came out, put the record straight when winning Princess Margaret at Ascot, and Rafe Beckett's put her away with this in mind, surely, since. I reckon she'd be primed for this. William Buick's been booked. Yeah, nothing not to like Lazou. I think she'll win.
All right, Lazou for the Becketts, who've had a great year, haven't they? Lazou, all the way for our Navy SEAL. All right, I'm with Trillium. I didn't think there was much between her and Meditate. I know that Tenebrism took this out for Aidan last year. And you've got to be looking for a Group 1 winner in the pack next year, I think, if you remember. But is this a Tiggy-Wiggy year? Maybe. They're both by No Nay Never. If anything, a Dam basically won over 7 furlongs at 2. She was group placed as well. Platinum Queen, we know she's second in none. Thought that'll do for me. I'll take your point about being keen. Hopefully she settles as she does. I think she'll win. Right, let's move on to the Middle Park, Pat Cooney. Not so many runners here, but again, nonetheless, a fascinating field.
Yeah, good levels of form on show here. Marshman, McCall Burke, his favourite, only just got beat last time out, had looked pretty good in his 2 prior runs. And then fascinatingly, Blackbeard, who is a horse that has captured the public's imagination really because of his antics at the start. He seems to do a bit of dressage, and you think, well, I don't see any other horse do that, just this one. But it doesn't stop him running from A to B. So he seems obviously to be a character. He's had the 6 runs. I think they'll be close between them in the market than they already are. I think Blackbeard may end up being the more popular.
Do you think he should be outright for being the Group 1 winner in the pack?
Well, I thought so, but Marshman, he brings a good level of form to the table. But, there's value around. You've got Persian Force, who's a rock-solid horse. His form ties in there. Amazing to think he won the Brocklesby, and here we are. He's now in a Group 1 race holding his form. I thought it was a fascinating race. And one that caught my eye last time it ran is, it was one of these things when you're sitting home, you're just watching the telly, not a care in the world, and you think, wow, what was that? And it was at Yarmouth, Zoology for James Ferguson, Kieran Fallon aboard. Only won a small race at Yarmouth last time out, but I remember watching it thinking, what was that? I don't like horses who have the 1 run in a maiden straight into a Group 1 race. I'd rather they, climbed up the ladder a little bit. But it says something for what James Ferguson, who's a very talented guy in his own right, thinks of the horse. Zoology, you can back him at double-figure price. He's in the could be anything. I'm quite prepared to see him blow out. But it was very, very eye-catching when he won first. I'd rather he was running in another race that I could back him in. But if I can back him at double-figure prices for this, then I'll honour what I saw at Yarmouth.
He's drawn in 1. He's on the wing.
He's on the wing, but G-Rod says not to worry about that.
Well, then that... You know better than that by now. All right, let's go and see what G-Rod thinks about this. It takes a special 2-year-old to win the Middle Park. Who have you got on top, man?
I thought that the key piece of form was the Morny, which of course Blackbeard won and Persian Force was second, and that Antarctic was third, and they all line up here. Earlier in the week, I thought the Antarctic was the value if he lined up, but he's a lot shorter than he was. Then Blackbeard, I thought he maybe got the run of the race that day at Deauville. Persian Force came from behind him, caught him up nicely, got to within half a length. I think that Persian Force has got a legitimate chance of reversing the form, and I'm surprised that Blackbeard's not favourite for this race. Marshman, of course, finished second behind Noble Style, but Noble Style, I thought, handsomely beat him at York. So, I'm with not Blackbeard. I'm with the Morny form, but I think that Persian Force will reverse it with Blackbeard with the Antarctic in third, little trifecta.
All right, en français for Rodway. I am going to go with Marshman here. He looks like a bit of a monster to me, Marshman. Of course, he came after that third demolition, didn't he, to the gym crack, hit the front, hung both ways, didn't know what to do with himself. There's 2 ways looking at that, I think, Pat. Noble Style. If Marshman hoses up here, Noble Style is a freakish talent, which he could well be, because he did everything wrong when he won the gym crack and still pulled away nicely at the end. Either that or Marshman has been beaten by one who did everything wrong and still beat him. So that's what we're weighing up. But the form has worked out. Cole Case has come out and won since. The form is pretty good. I thought that because of course Noble Style should be here. That was the rematch we were hoping for. He had a bout of colic. He's had to miss out, sadly. But Mischief Magic is interesting for Charlie Appleby and William Buick here. He comes off of the Sardinia Stakes he won. He beat 2 fillies there. A lot of people will crab at that. But the second, whose name escapes me, maybe G-Rod can click on that and tell me, whose name escapes me, has been since finished second to Ayr in a Group 2 as well, in the Firth of Clyde. And he might just be coming into this on a real roll and could give Marshman a race. I don't think the Morning form will be the one. I'm with you. Marshman is massive. My only real doubt is the dip, but I think he will race in second or third, get first run on some of the faster horses and keep going. He's by Harry's Angel out of a mare that stayed quite well. So I think Carl Burke is going to take out this Group 1. A range of tips then. There are the Group 1 races on Saturday. It's time for the Cambridgeshire. Pat Cooney, you're going to have to take this away.
Yes, the Bet365 Cambridgeshire, and this is the 5th year we sponsored it. And I remember when we were offered it, the horse that won the race the previous year was a 50-1 chance. So I was asked, do you think we should sponsor? I said, you've got to sponsor it. It's the Cambridgeshire. You're bound to win on it.
Who won it?
Wizard Hicken, unbeaten, Frankie Dettori, John Gosden, and he won at 11-1. Dreadful result. Dreadful result.
I was with him. I was cheering that way.
So the following year, I said, look, don't worry about it. And then there's a big move for horse, Lord North. And they said to me, they're saying this is a group horse in a handicap. I said, don't, it's a cliche, I wouldn't worry. Well, he won at 9-2 favourite. And then, thankfully, we've had 2 40-1 winners of the race since. So we're all happy bunnies at the moment.
All right, so we're all searching for the good price, good thing in here. Then let's have a look for it. What it could possibly be. Because Mujtaba and Haggis, William has to have the favourites in the Cambridgeshire. It's almost sacrilegious to say he doesn't, isn't it, for bookmakers?
In the bookmaking industry, it's almost a tablet of stone. Saturday, big race handicap, who's favourite?
He can't stand it, apparently, can he?
No, he can't. No, and so William Haggis. So we've put all the chips in the table. We've made his horse favourite and his other one second favourite.
Protagonist.
But Protagonist has got a bad draw. Well, I say he has a bad draw. He's got stall 3. Now, the last 6 winners of this race, 28, 29, 21, 29, 25, 21.
Yeah.
So there's your theme. That's where the market's going to go. They're all going to go to the high numbers. Mujtaba is 16, so he's in the, you're okay. Mujtaba will continue to be favourite. Remember, he was all the rage for the Lincoln, though. And he blew out that day. He was particularly impressive last time out, I thought. But you are backing a horse at single figures on the back of probably one run, a good run. But a lot of these come into the race on good form. Protagonist, shame he's in stall 3.
That's put me off him.
Yeah, and the horse that he beat last time out, he's also got a bit of a bad draw as well. What one is that now? Dual Identity of William Knight. That's in 6. So
Tom
I'm
Siegel
looking.
put him up.
Yeah. So the draw is going to dictate how the market goes. So Mujtaba, he'll be solid in the market at 16. I quite like Jimi Hendrix.
So basically, you're only looking at the draw.
I'm basing it on overall form, but you get a big plus if you've got a high number draw. And Jimi Hendrix has got stall number 28. Now, he pretty much had stall 28 when he ran at Goodwood last time.
Zero chance.
He was in, I think he was 20. And
we said before the show, I'm amazed they let him run. A vet certificate coming up or
that's
something.
right, and he finished last, so just pretend it didn't happen.
Very
because
sporting.
The die was cast. Yeah, it's very much so. And he's a progressive 3-year-old. He's got a good draw. Rafe Beckett, 3-year-olds do okay in the race. I would rather be backing him at around about his 14-1 than anything else at the moment. And I mean, you could leave quite a few of these in the race, but I quite like the whole Jimi Hendrix experience here.
Oh, there we are, absolutely on song. Pat Cooney's hoping to be hitting the right notes and all that sort of thing. Right, you've got a good thing in this, Rodway, haven't you? Come on, that's not what you said as we were coming into the studio.
How many's in this 30? I mean, I think Bell Rock is absolute rock solid. I think that, he definitely ran well. He obviously finished behind Mujtaba last time out at Donny, didn't he? But he sort of building back up to this race, isn't he? I think he's on a career low mark. I think 97. He's gone up £2 for his run at Donny, but that obviously doesn't kick in because the entries for this were out before he ran in that race. So he's £2 well in, and he literally just runs all his best races at Newmarket. I think all 3 of his career wins have come at Newmarket. He likes fast ground. He's sure to run well, but it's good to see that sitting next to you seems to have knocked a bit of sense into Pat as well, because I do fancy Jimi Hendrix as well. He produced an absolutely remarkable performance to win on the July course at the July meeting there. I think that that race, they went absolutely no pace, and they finished at a ridiculously fast finishing speed, and he came from last to first in a very slowly run race. It was an amazing performance, and you can completely ignore his last run at Goodwood when he was drawn, I think, 21 in that Golden Mile. It's like the biggest draw race of the season. You've got no chance of winning from out there. So, yeah, they're my 2 against the field. Bell Rock is absolutely solid each way, and Jimi Hendrix as well as Pat.
Yeah, Andrew Balding's run as Bell Rock. They always seem to run well in Cambridgeshire. I remember Good Birthday. I thought he was a rock solid bet. Turns out he was. He bumped into Lord North. I think Saibin Sarur is probably, now I've seen the draw, is probably going to win it for back-to-back. We've had back-to-back Wokeners, back-to-back Stewart Cup. Why not in the Cambridgeshire as well? And First View is also I absolutely love. He has shown his best form on potty track, but he's got turf form as well. The cheek piece is on last time. He really had no right to keep going as he did in that final furlong when everything came and attacked him late. He landed a right gamble in that London Mile at Kempton on Serenia weekend. I just think he's rock solid. And Stefano Churchy and Sopinter have placed, I can't remember what was his name, with a big price runner in this as well. He's been back though, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, there's been money for him, yeah.
All right, so I went off protagonist when I saw stall 3. 2 in the last decade have come from single figure stalls. And let's face it, they do tend to migrate towards that near side. So we think it will be high numbers. They've given you 2. I thought Savvy Victory was quite interesting as well for Sean Woods. I think if you are on something down the middle, you've got to hope that 2020 winner, it was 2020 when you sent a Christmas card to Majestic Dawn. Ollie Cole and Paul Cole. I think he will try and lead down the middle.
Yep.
So maybe they will go an hour ahead formation. I don't know. All right. Have we helped you out? I hope so. That's the Saturday previews. Right then. That all-important time. A lot of you on Twitter just looking at the weekend naps. Pat Cooney, let's give you the floor.
5:25 Newmarket on Saturday closes the show of the race, and it's Zayn Al Arab. Why Zayn Al Arab? Well, he's trained by Roger Varian. You like to get with a trainer in form. He had a good progressive profile prior to running at Doncaster. It didn't work out at Doncaster. He started slowly, so they'll be alive to that this time around. And the ground was good to soft. His progressive profile had been on good and good to firm ground. I just think you can ignore that Doncaster run. And he did run with merit anyway, despite the slow start and the ground not being right. Back on a better surface today. Jim Crowley, Roger Varian, progressive horse. What more do you want?
All right, fair enough. Before I weigh in, I need to get myself back on track after a stinker last weekend. Graeme Rodway, what gets your interest from underneath the starry seas?
I'm going to stick with Lezu in the Cheveley Park, though. Just think she's been laid out for this race. So Lezu in the 2:25 at Newmarket Saturday.
Right, I'm seeing the bull big as well, G, because I'm going to go in the middle park, and I think Marshman will prove himself the best 2-year-old sprinter. I think he's even going to show that Jim Crack form might have been his in the bag, because he's going to run straight and true. He's an absolute monster for Carl Burke, 3 o'clock. 2 Group 1 naps and something in the 5:25. Well, sadly, that's all we've got time for on this week's What a Shout. Great to have you back. Really got the feeling there's celebratory feeling in the air coming at Newmarket, where you're off to.
Yes, Newmarket, Bet365 Cambridgeshire, so looking forward to all, and a terrific support card as well.
Marvellous. When Saeed comes up and gets the prize on First View, you'll be quick to turn my tip.
I will, and I was happy to present him with the trophy last year when he won at 40-1. This one's a little bit different, but may the best one win.
Don't forget to pat Charlie Hills on the back when Pogo wins as well. Pat, happy days. Great to have you back. Of course, it's Art Weekend next week. You'll be back in Stoke, but we've got some surprises lined up. Great show.
Yes, and what a weekend that is as well. So it's non-stop from here on in for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. All right, so what's coming up Port Starboard then, G? It's been great to have you. You've signalled in from HMS Rodway.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Yeah, it's been a good show. Let's hope for some winners. Last week I think we got 1 or 2, did we?
Yeah, we did, absolutely. Quite right. Always good to have Rodders with us. And listen, always good to have you with us as well. Don't forget, though, so many races this weekend. Lots of top action. Don't forget to gamble responsibly. That's our MO here at the Racing Post. And, of course, Bet365. Don't forget to download the free must-have Racing Post app. You can do that on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Loads of sport out there. From myself, Dave Orton.